You hear that, Samson? Beautiful.
Getting started, you're going to grab yourself some heavier weight mesh material, and you'll only need about a half a yard. You'll need less than a yard of 1/4 inch foam, or it can be less than a 1/4 inch. You want to grab some twill or duck canvas to cover the brim. You'll need a sweatband, or you can make one, but I recommend buying one because they're super cheap and they make the hat look so much nicer. And you'll also need a brim, and both of these are available at capsupplyco.com. And you want to grab yourself a closure. And actually for this video, we're going to be using Clawbacks, and this is a brand that reached out to us, and they're super cool. They come in all different styles, and it's a cool new look for the snapback, so I definitely recommend checking them out. And don't forget to use our promo code 10PROPERFIT to get 10% off your first order of Clawbacks. And lastly, you need your pattern, and this pattern is available at ProperFitClothing.com, and it's super easy to use. All you have to do is print it out, cut it, and you're ready to go. Getting started, take your top and your side panels, lay them on your mesh, trace them, and cut them out. Then take your front panel, lay it on your foam, trace it, and cut it out. Grab your top 2 panels, place the right sides together, and stitch just on that top edge. And make sure you're stitching with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now we're going to show you how to install your double needle. It's just like a normal needle, you just install it, and what you're going to do is thread 2 spools of thread and set your machine to zigzag. So we're going to show you 2 different options for adding on your bias tape, and these are just 2 different bias tape folders. The one on the right is just one you can get at any hobby store, and the one on the left is available at capsupplyco.com. So all you have to do is line it up with your needle, tape it onto your machine, and cut your bias tape to the right measurements, and you're ready to start sewing. But if you do have brackets on your machine to screw it down, I definitely recommend doing that. But you can totally get by with just taping it on. Take the top 2 panels and feed it through that binder. This is going to give you a stitch on the top and also cover up that raw edge on the bottom. Next, go ahead and take your front panel and your top panels, place the right sides together, and stitch along that edge. Set your binder back up and run that seam through that binder. Next, we're going to go ahead and sew on the side panels, and all you have to do is pretty much go around that curve. So place it right sides together and just stitch it slow along that curve and work with it as it goes. And then go ahead and repeat this process for the other side. And then put your binder back on for the last time and sew those seams. And the next step for the crown is to add on the side strip, and you do that along the bottom edge. And this helps for adding on the sweatband later and just gives a little bit more structure to the bottom of the crown. And to finish off that back edge, we're gonna use the double fold bias tape binder, and you can get these for both domestic and industrial sewing machines. We're obviously using one on the industrial, but we're gonna have links in the description for both. Next step is making the brim sleeve, so go ahead and grab your brim and trace it onto your fabric. And you're gonna wanna use 2 pieces of fabric. And then from there, go ahead and do a straight stitch all the way around that arch. Now go ahead and trim about 1/4 inch from that seam. Flip the right sides out and then start maneuvering your brim into position. And if you are satisfied with the look and the tightness, you can skip this next step, but we are going to be adding some stitches to the top of the brim. And we are using a guide that will be available on capsupplyco.com. It just helps with getting nice, neat stitches around. As you can see, we're doing 1 line at a time, adjusting it, and then doing the next, and then making sure they're nice and even. Honestly, you can use any guide for this step, something that just keeps that brim from sliding all around.
I do not love thee. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? 'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Come cheer up, my lads. Come cheer up, my lads. 'Tis better to have loved and lost. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. No one had a chance to interrupt.
Now that your brim is nice and tight into position, I recommend using a zipper foot for this, and then go around and make a seam along that back edge of the brim. Pull towards the back of the brim to make that fabric nice and tight as you sew. Now go ahead and trim about 1/2 inch from the inside of that brim. Go ahead and mark the center of your brim and the center of your crown, line those up, and we're gonna start stitching from the center, and I recommend using that zipper foot again so you can get close to that edge and stitch 1/2 at a time. And then go ahead and stitch the other half. And doing it in 2 parts like this really helps keep that brim centered. Now we're going to be attaching the sweatband. This step we made our own attachment, and we made this out of heavier stock paper. All you have to do is make a little sleeve that your sweatband fits in there nice and snug, and then go ahead and tape that onto your sewing machine. It serves as a guide so that way the sweatband doesn't slide all around while you're sewing it onto the crown. So go ahead and roll that edge over and just start stitching all the way around the bottom of that crown. And I definitely recommend using thread that matches your sweatband so you don't notice it. Now we're gonna go ahead and add on our back closure, and all you have to do is roll that sweatband over towards the inside and just place that snap in between the outside crown and that sweatband and go ahead and sew it on. And then repeat that process for the other side. And the last step is adding on your eyelet vents, and this is more for looks because it's mesh, but go ahead and make your marks and press your eyelets on all those panels. And there you have it, your 5-panel mesh cap. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time.